welcome to my video. My name is Simon, and today I would like to discuss with you the journey I went on to get my Paraguayan residency. I do have some notes on the side here, so if you see me shifting back and forth, I'm just looking at my notes that I have here. It's fairly fresh in my mind, but there's so many steps that I had to do to get the residency. They're all straightforward, but I just don't want to forget any, so I wrote some key points. Before I get into the actual process of residency, I would like to discuss a little bit about why I chose Paraguay. Apart from the easy residency process and the very low cost of getting it, I was also looking for a very affordable country, somewhere I could live where my dollar would go a lot further than it does here right now in Canada, and also was looking for some laid-back vibes that you usually find in South and Central America. Apart from maybe a few inconvenience of flying from Canada to Paraguay, which is about 25 hours, maybe 30 hours if you're unlucky, depending on the route that you take. So far, that's the only inconvenience that I found. Everything else seemed to go super smoothly. Everything was straightforward. The process was very easy. Talking about the process, let's get into it. My pre-departure checklist was fairly simple. All you need is your birth certificate and your RCMP report to prove that you don't have any criminal records. If you do, I believe Paraguay will pretty much automatically say no to you. There might be a few exceptions, but I do not know the actual ins and outs of that. Also, apart from your birth certificate and your RCMP report, you need a valid passport. The way that it works down in Paraguay, you need to have everything apostilled. So I worked with Global Document Solutions. They did a great job, and it was very quick, under a month. From the time I asked for my birth certificate, my RCMP report, which I got back within 2 to 3 weeks. The apostilles from Global Solutions came back with under a month wait time. So I got everything back within about a month and a half, where I was ready to head out to Paraguay. Before you do that, just double check that all your name on every single document, your passport, your RCMP report, and your birth certificate all matches. There can't be any differences in your name. Sometimes the passport is a bit too small to have all your names. So let's just say your name is James William Smith, and on your passport all you had was James Smith. You would have to get a piece of paper from your government stating that James William Smith is the same person as James Smith, and that would also need to be apostilled to be valid. So that is your pre-departure checklist. Get those 3 documents and you should be good to start planning your trip down to Paraguay. First things first, once you land in Paraguay, get settled in, and what you could do is go to the immigration's office. They have a checklist there, so all the paperwork needed to actually submit your documents will be in that checklist. So it'll let you know how many copies of what documents you need, because you will need to do some photocopies down the road, get them authenticated and all that stuff, which I'll be getting into. So the first thing you'll want to do is get all your documents translated. I went ahead and sent my documents ahead of time before I left here, but you could, if you have extra time, you could do it once you get to Paraguay. So just basically go to a lawyer that will translate all your documents into Spanish, so that the people there could actually read what you have with you. One thing is to double check and triple check all the documents, because I know when I went there personally, I had 1 or 2 documents that the numbers did not match. They were either reversed or just completely wrong. So just double and triple check once you get those documents back, that the names are all okay, that the numbers on your passport is okay, the numbers from your RCMP report and your birth certificate all match. It's very important. There cannot be one number that's off. These documents do not need to be apostilled, so don't worry about that. Once you have your translations, you have the documents that you brought with you, you could actually start the process by visiting all the different government buildings. So let's get into the first one that you'll need to do. First one is the photocopia. So you'll need a few photocopies of your passport, birth certificate, and RCMP report. Don't quote me on this, but I believe it's 3 of each. And most places will be charging you about 5,000 guaranis per photocopy. So once you have your photocopies, 3 passport, 3 birth certificate, 3 RCMP reports, you can go down to the Escribania, which is basically a notary system down there in Paraguay. They are just there to compare your original documents to your photocopies and make sure that they are identical before they stamp them. Okay, so once you have your notary done, so all the paperwork and photocopies have been stamped and they have been certified, you need to go get yourself some passport photos size. They're same format. They don't have to actually be stamped for your passport, but they will need to be about the same size. You need 2 of those. There's multiple locations downtown, but the one that I know of is in front of Interpol. So you'll be able to get that done before you walk into Interpol, because you will need those pictures before you walk in. After you get your photos in, you have your photocopies, it's time to go to Interpol. So Interpol is, I believe it's kind of the police department of Paraguay. This is where they process a lot of criminal records and stuff like that. So you will be going in, make sure that once again all your documents are authenticated and translated at this point with your 2 pictures. They will get a form for you to fill out. It's just a 1 page or 1.5 page of questions that they ask you. Fill that out, and once that's all done, they will grab all your documents, including that form that you filled out, and they will bring you out around back to do an old school fingerprint. Which I mean by that is they'll put some real ink on your fingers. It gets really messy, but that's the way to do it down there, and it's a pretty cool experience, I could say. They will get your fingerprints in. They will charge you also 108,000 guaranis. Unfortunately, there is a delay of 2 to 3 days to get those paperwork back. This is where a lot of people kind of get, not angry, but I guess delayed in their journey, not expecting it could take 2 to 3 days. There is methods of speeding that up, but you probably have to discuss with them and see if that's still an option. I think you'd pay double the price and you could get it in within 24 hours. But don't quote me on that. So once you have Interpol done, so you've went to get your photocopies, you got your pictures, you got your fingerprints done at Interpol, now it's time to go to the police IT department, where basically you just go in, you hand them a set of authenticated, you give them a set of authenticated copies that you've made earlier that day, pay 63,000 guaranis, and they will get you a certificate on the spot where you will need for your next step. Once you have all that, so let's just recap. You got your photocopies, you went to the notary, so all those photocopies are authenticated, signed, and stamped. You got your photos that you gave to Interpol. Interpol is going to give you a certificate that you'll have to wait, like I said, 2 to 3 days. And then you have your police IT department document paperwork. I guess it's a certificate that they give you. You will be ready to head down to the Imigraciones and do your filing with the actual immigration department. Make sure the translation, make sure everything has been translated. Just triple check everything, guys, because it's easy process, but there cannot be any mistakes. That's the key part, is making sure there is no mistakes. Whether it be just one letter in the name or one letter in your passport, it could screw everything up. So that's that. The cost of actually applying for your residency is just a little over 3.1 million guarani. So it's about, if I'm not mistaken, that's a good question, about 500 US. I might be way off on that. I did not do the conversion, sorry about that. Also, my final thoughts on the process is, or any advice I can give you guys is, go to Paraguay, schedule at least a week just for the residency process. It could take a day, it could take 2 days. It can take up to a week if it rains, if the Interpol takes longer, if it rains, the roads are flooded, it might be of a hassle. So I would suggest book 2 weeks, 1 week just to get the residency process. If it gets done in 2 days, it gets done in 2 days, which is great. If it doesn't, you'll be glad that you took that 2 weeks. And if you have extra time, it's always fun to travel. If you're getting your residency, I would assume that you're looking to might move there, so you have time to go look at some land, some houses, and just discover a little bit more about the city and Paraguay in itself, because it's a beautiful country. There's so much things to do. You just got to go out and find them. So renting a car might be something you might be interested in. That's pretty much it in a brief overview of the residency. I know this is not the most detailed video on getting your residency. This is pretty much just my experience. So you might hear other things from other people, but this is what I went through as a Canadian citizen to get my residency. I will have to be going back in December to get my second process in, which includes getting my cedula. I think a little bit later it will be my bank account, my driver's license, and all that good stuff. But for now, I need to go back and get the second part of the residency in, which will be to get my cedula. So if you're interested in seeing a part 2 of this video, I'll hopefully do a bit better job than this is my first video that I ever did. So speaking to the camera like this is a little bit awkward, I could say. I'll also be posting in my other video a bit more on my life in Paraguay. Right now I'm back in Canada, finishing some work here before I move to Paraguay. I would like to be down there for at least 6 months starting December, where I'll be driving around looking for land. That's my ultimate goal, is buying land there and building myself a home, and just maybe doing some agriculture and seeing what opportunities lie ahead. So if you're interested in seeing me and my journey from being a Canadian citizen to becoming a temporary resident to Paraguay, and all in between, renting, buying land, discovering the city, subscribe and stay tuned for my next video. Thank you very much and enjoy.